Shrine in Colombo, which we can see here, caused heavy casualties amongst worshippers celebrating Easter. Well, also in Colombo, the 5-star Kingsbury Hotel was hit just to the south of the shrine there. A few hundred metres from there, the Shangri-La Hotel was also subjected to an attack. And there it is. Well, an official at the Cinnamon Grand Hotel reported that at least one person died after an explosion ripped through a restaurant there. We can bring you more shortly from our correspondent on the ground, but we'll have that a little later. We can talk to my colleague or my guest, Fushan Nanda Kumar, who's a member of the editorial board at the Tamil Guardian newspaper now. Fushan, thanks very much for being with us. You've been monitoring developments with your colleagues in Sri Lanka. What are you hearing? Because we're getting updates all the time. This figure of 207 now dead and arrests within the last few minutes.
Yes, it's a very chaotic situation still. There is an island-wide curfew, and as you mentioned, there are bans on a lot of channels in terms of social media. We're hearing reports of possible gun battles, police officers killed, and possible suspects being apprehended. Sri Lanka's defence minister has apparently come out and said that these could be suicide bomb attacks that we're seeing here.
It suggests, obviously, as you said, a very fast-moving operation, but it does seem that at least they are targeting people who are, the suspects here, that there is a very fast-moving police operation. They do seem to be certainly making some progress, it would seem.
Well, yeah, it seems like it's a very fast-moving operation, like you said. They're zooming, the Sri Lankan security forces are really homing in on who they claim to be the alleged culprits of this attack. It seems as if it was a planned and coordinated attack, but there's still a lot going on. The situation is still very fluid at the moment.
What do you make of the fact that it appears that most of these were suicide bomb attacks and clearly very coordinated, but not all at the same time? These attacks went on over several hours.
Yeah, so it seems that there was there is a political motive behind this. We're not entirely sure who the group is. No one's claimed responsibility for the attacks as of yet, so it's really unclear as to what's going on. As you know, Sri Lanka is an island with a long history of violence. There's been a lot of ethnic and religious tensions for decades, and that still persists today, so it's possible that there's some link or connection there.
Tell us a bit more about the ethnic tensions, because there was a civil war that went on for many years, but that came to an end 10 years ago. In fact, it's nearly the 10-year anniversary, isn't there? But despite that, there have been continuing tensions for the remaining years since then.
Yes, so there's been the Sri Lankan state has been controlled by the majority singular Buddhist population, and the island has basically been ruled as a singular Buddhist island. The civil war that took place was with the Tamils in the northeast of the island and the Sinhalese majority down south. And the Tamils are mainly Hindu and Christian. There's also a significant Muslim population there as well. All three have had tensions at some point. 10 years ago, as you mentioned, the Sri Lankan military launched a massive offensive that killed tens of thousands of Tamil civilians, and since then the Sri Lankan military have really been stationed all across the northeast. So to have something like this come up 10 years later, it's really quite unusual and suggests it was a very well coordinated and planned attack.
More recently, there's been a certain amount of political uncertainty, hasn't there, following the President's decision to fire his Prime Minister?
Yes, so in October last year there was what some people claimed a coup took place. That did get resolved, but there's been a lot of political uncertainty. There's been a resurgence of what I would call right-wing singular Buddhist nationalism. There are groups such as the BDS who had attacked churches and mosques, or accused of attacking churches and mosques, and there's been no punishment or no accountability for them. So there's a lot of grievances, a lot of political instability. The Rajapaksa family, who oversaw the final phase of the war, are touted to make a comeback later this year when presidential elections are set to take place as well. So there's a lot of political instability and uncertainty on the island, and this will really just add fuel to that fire. 5
tourist hotels targeted in Colombo, we understand. This is a major, it's the busiest season for tourists, isn't it, in Sri Lanka this time of year?
Yeah, it's a busy tourist season. There are lots of tourists visiting, especially down south in Colombo, and attacking those hotels does seem like it's a signal sent to really damage the Sri Lankan economy, as well as target some tourists.
What do you make of the fact that the targets are churches and hotels?
Well, I don't know.